The role that I have requires me to carry out visits such as inspections and particularly investigations with inspectors, or they could be the police or environmental health officers, and the investigation will have resulted as a result of some kind of electrical incident.
I assist construction inspectors and other inspectors in construction related matters where the knowledge that they require for the particular situation is beyond their training and expertise, so they require additional support.
Basically, we provide an engineering service to the regulatory inspectors and to local authority inspectors. So if they need an engineering input into an incident or want some engineering advice in terms of equipment, then we provide that service.
And my current post is team leader of the civil engineers in the north of the UK, which means that I manage the civil engineer team in the north. My background is that I'm a chartered civil engineer, and I have a degree in building and a master's degree in transportation, and so my specialist topics are in those areas.
Prior to joining the Health and Safety Executive, I worked in construction up to the level of project manager, and then I had a slight career change to becoming a safety advisor, advising on safety matters within the construction industry. What
attracted me to HSE, I think, was probably a thought in the back of my mind that perhaps, you know, I could make a difference in respect to some aspects of the way people are exposed to electrical risks. And I'd certainly had some experience of that when I worked for National Grid. Very early on in my career there, I was on a site where a person fell off some scaffolding and was quite badly injured, and that kind of highlighted the risks of you know, working on this type of electrical equipment to me, which really I don't think had become that apparent to me at the time.
Well, obviously you need to be a sort of quite a broad-based engineer, and with that you need a sort of an open mind, sort of reasonably good sort of people skills, because you'll be dealing with the guy right at the bottom end, if you like, at the shop floor through to the MD, so you've got to sort of approach those people in the right manner. And probably most important of all, you've got to be able to think on your feet, because you will meet a lot of situations that you're unfamiliar with, and having to draw on your sort of past experiences and make that leap into that situation.
I think a good inspector has what I would call an inspector's eyes, and perhaps a professional inspector's eyes, at being able to observe what's gone wrong and why it's gone wrong, and making a mental note of these things, and then not being hassled, and to have sufficient time to follow through those details.
Being new to the Health and Safety Executive, the early days was superb. I got a lot of support from line managers and the admin staff who directed me in the right locations to find all the information I required, and basically assisted me with any training needs that I had. I went out on visits with other inspectors and cribbed off with them, so the support was brilliant. A really good support mechanism, and the training is very, very good.
In my present role as the team leader, obviously I've got a team of staff, and I'm providing not only mentoring to new staff, but established staff who need training in other aspects to get their skills and keep their skills honed, and also to consider their continuing professional development so that they can move on and get more experience of different types of work.
You have great work-life balance. The depth and knowledge of your day-to-day job is really interesting. You get to do things that you'd never ever get the opportunity to do in the private sector, in terms of investigations and getting really in-depth to the crux of problems in terms and related to safety matters. Very, very interesting job and a really great place to work.
HSE is a good employer, has a good balance between work-life balance. You know, there's a lot of flexibility in the role, and to me, with a young family, that's worth an awful lot.
Well, the beauty of the job is that there isn't really a typical day. You'll find yourselves in various industrial situations. It may be one instance where you're at a food factory in a white coat and Wellingtons and a hairnet investigating an incident, or perhaps giving advice on machinery guarding.
Sometimes I've had expert witness cases to deal with where I've had to represent HSE and assist the court in providing advice on the technical areas that I've dealt with in investigations, And all of that was like forensic engineering, because you're trying to find out what went wrong, why did it go wrong, how did it go wrong, has there been a breach of the regulations or not.
You get to see lots and lots of different environments. I mean, in my time in HSE, I've been around, very large chemical plants. I've been to chocolate factories, maggot farms, slaughterhouses, all quite kind of the places which you would never really get to see in lots of what you might call normal electrical engineering type jobs.
It may well be that I'm preparing documents that will be used in a prosecution, or it may well be that I'm preparing to actually go to court as an expert witness on construction related matters for the health and safety executive.
I think if you've been to an incident, and hopefully it's not too serious an incident, where you can give the organisation the feedback in terms of what they need to do to prevent it happening in the future, that gives quite a lot of satisfaction that you've prevented those future incidents.
In some ways, you have to preserve a degree of calm and perhaps detachedness from the immediate horror of some of the accidents that we have to deal with. Otherwise, you'd not be able to carry out the job effectively.
The really important thing is when you go somewhere and there's a problem and you discuss it with somebody and they change their opinion because of the discussions you've had with them. That's the most rewarding thing. When you come away having really only talked to them, you've not had to give them an enforcement notice and say you are going to do this. The most rewarding thing is when you go and talk to people and they change the way that they work.
Some days you have the satisfaction of being able to convince people on the right thing to do, which obviously in the long term will prevent workplace accidents, and it's great to have that opportunity to do that.
You feel sort of a valued member of the investigation team and the support team, if you like, that you're giving to people in industry in helping them provide a safer workplace for their employees and other individuals.
If you're thinking of a career in HSE, then I think that the big advantage of working in an organisation like HSE is the variety. There's no other job where you get the variety, or certainly no other job that I've done, that you get the variety of scenarios, situations, technical difficulties that you're faced with, to have to interpret, to understand, and there's always something new to go away and read up about, to find out, and then to come to some quite important conclusion about what the risks are and what might need to be done. And I think that's that variety really that's probably a key factor in why I'm still in HSE after 10 years, to be honest.